What's going on? It's Fight Season MMA, and today I want to talk about possible hot takes that I think that could happen at UFC 303, some possible finishes that could happen, some really hot takes that probably aren't going to happen, but I think have a possibility to happen. Let's get right into the video. Okay, so I'm going to have like 4 hot takes in this video, and the first one I want to start with is Peyton Talbot is going to be the star of the night. Peyton Talbot's I put him in my UFC 303 breakdown, saying that this is one of the fighters to watch in the UFC 303 card, and I think that this kid is so special. You look at his last fight, and I don't know who he fought, but that knee that he threw in the first round after he went for the takedown, his opponent went for the takedown. Peyton Talbot is so special. His fighting IQ is crazy. He does so many unorthodox things in the UFC octagon. There was videos of him training, of him getting in an opponent getting a hold of his leg, and he backflipped out of the leg lock. Or of him holding his leg, excuse me. And he is just one of the biggest rising prospects in the UFC organization right now. And I see him doing something massive in the future, but I think that this is one of the fights that Peyton Talbot could win performance of the night, or he's going to be looked at in an incredibly different light because of the magnitude that this card presents. Okay, so the next hot take that I want to go to is I think Ian Garry is going to land 3 or more takedowns in his fight with Michael Venom Page. You look at Michael Venom Page's fight with Kevin Holland, and I think that this fight, that was such a big indicator of how fast and of how unorthodox Michael Venom Page is, and I think Ian Garry is going to get in the octagon and feel the same way. We all know Ian Garry is only a striker, and he doesn't do takedowns, he doesn't throw takedowns, but I think in this fight, Ian Garry is going to have to land some takedowns in order for him to win. Michael Venom Page is a point fighter. He's a Taekwondo karate style fighter, kind of like Stephen Wonderboy Thompson, but it's a little bit different because he keeps his hands down, and all of his strikes come from unorthodox positions and angles. So I really do think that Ian Garry is going to have to get in there to throw some takedowns to mix up the range and the combos, just so Michael Venom Page is so caught off guard. Like I said, go back to the Kevin Holland fight. Once Kevin Holland got that takedown in the second round because Michael Venom Page threw the spinning back elbow or the scorpion elbow, he almost got submitted, and he looks foreign on the ground. So I think Ian Garry, even if he doesn't have the greatest jiu-jitsu or the ground game, I think that this could be something to really propel Ian Garry to get the win. And not saying Ian Garry won't get a submission, but I just don't think it's super likely. So I would rather say 3 or more takedowns rather than Ian Garry by submission. In my third hot take, I have Brian Ortega by second round TKO or knockout or something like that. You know, Brian Ortega is has some of the highest intelligence in the UFC, and that is fully represented in that Yair Rodriguez fight in Mexico City, where Yair beat him handily in the first round, possibly a 10-8. And what did Brian Ortega do? He came out and adjusted again. He is one of the, like I said, has some of the highest fight IQ. He's fought some of the best in the UFC organization. And I think that is going to be on full display against Diego Lopez this weekend. Diego Lopez, his biggest fight in the UFC was on 10 days' notice versus Movsar Evloev. And yes, the Sadiq Youssef knockout was impressive, but he has not fought the likes of Max Holloway, Alexander Volkanovski, Yair Rodriguez twice. So I think that Brian Ortega's experience is going to give him such a massive advantage within the octagon, and I think he's going to be able to adjust quickly and possibly be able to catch Diego Lopez flying in if he doesn't get caught on the ground in a jiu-jitsu match. Now, I don't think that this is going to be a submission by either fighter because of how good they are on the ground with one another. But I really do think that Brian Ortega by second round TKO, because he adjusts after the first round and could counter Diego Lopez coming in, could be something to happen. And lastly, I have the craziest hot take that you could possibly believe, and I have Alex Pereira winning by submission. And this is something that you don't think could absolutely happen. I think Alex Pereira has like 1 takedown in his UFC event, and that was at the back end of a round versus Israel Adesanya the first time at Madison Square Garden. But the reason I believe that Alex Pereira could get a takedown is because I think Yuri is going to be very takedown heavy in this fight. And Alex Pereira could catch him with a guillotine or something like that, or a Darce if he falls in the wrong way. And there was one video, I don't know what I was watching, I think it was Alex Pereira's YouTube channel, and his submissions actually looked pretty good considering that he came over from kickboxing. And I think that now, ever since he's been acclimated to MMA and he's starting to get into the MMA world, and he's starting to learn from Glover Teixeira all the submissions and some Brazilian jiu-jitsu, I think that a takedown threat from Alex Pereira is something that you really should watch now. coming from his direction, and Yuri Prochazka is going to have to be very aware of that, just because it's a guillotine any person can do. All you got to do is squeeze, but a Doris is something that Alex Pereira knows now, and that Yuri Prochazka could fall into a trap like that. And considering how heavy Yuri's going to be on the takedowns, I'm assuming because no one wants to stand in front of Alex Pereira, I do think that there is a probability that Alex Pereira could win by Doris or could win by guillotine. Okay, guys, please let me know what you think about these hot takes. And remember, these are hot takes. These are not supposed to happen, but they could happen. I'm just predicting that something like this could happen on UFC 303. We all know that the UFC is super, super unorthodox, and everything, no matter what we predict, there's always going to be one fighter who breaks through and does something crazy. If you enjoyed the content, please leave a like and subscribe, and I will see you guys very, very soon.